Hello everyone, welcome to Lighthouse Stamping with Lorraine. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Vancouver, Washington. Thank you for joining me. Before we get started, the housekeeping notes, all the product I'm using and all the dimensions will be listed below. There's a link to my online store if you wish to purchase any of these products and help support my channel. There's a link to our Facebook group. We'd love to have you join that. My email address in case you have any questions. And finally, remember to like, share, and subscribe and help me grow in YouTube world. We're going to go back to the annual catalog today. We're going to be playing with Spotlight in Nature and Sketched Butterflies. I wanted to show you in the Spotlight Nature which dies we are using. There's a lot of them. We are using this one, which is approximately side to side, full side to side is 2 3/4. And then this one, which is approximately 2 1/4 across from side to side. So we're going to be using those two. And then we're going to be using Sketched Butterflies. And we're using this butterfly, which has a die. And we're going to use some other things out of these sets. But that one, we're using the die as well. You're saying, so what are we making today? Well, we have a very ordinary envelope. And I'm getting out something because I realized I forgot to grab the butterfly. And this is what we're making. This is a gold on black embossed card, which I think is absolutely gorgeous. I'm trying to get it so you can see it without too much glare. Of course, glare does allow it to shine. And it is embossed. And this one is on very vanilla. Now this I just stamped with black ink on the envelope because the post office really doesn't like embossing. So this is the card I made as my first one. We're going to change a few things. We're going to change the color and just a few things. You know, I don't like to always stick to the same thing, but similar. So we're going to need a few pieces. First, we need a piece of Night of Navy, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, and we'll come back to that shortly. Of course, we're going to need our envelope. We have 2 pieces of cardstock. One is Night of Navy, one is white, and they both are 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Okay, so we're going to be stamping on those. Then we need a piece of scrap for stamping our butterfly. And then we need 2 pieces of, this is silver foil, and this is Night of Navy. This one is a 2.5 square, and this one's a 3-inch square. Like I said, all the dimensions are going to be listed below. So before we get this starting and doing our embossing, since we are going to be embossing a couple of the die cut pieces, we do need to die cut those circles. So I'm just going to grab a little cranky here, and we'll do some quick. So out of this one, we're going to cut the silver. And so beautiful. That out of the way, and then this little one here, we will do this one. I found it easier to make sure I got everything lined up to emboss or cut this one before I embossed it. Now we will get this back out to cut our butterfly out later. And I'm just checking to see if all the little pieces came out. They did, and I will clean all those out later. And we'll set this off to the side for now, so we can do some embossing. So we're going to emboss on this. We're just going to stamp on this one, so let's get him out of the way real fast. I'm going to use Night of Navy. And this is one of the butterflies out of the Sketched Butterflies. Make sure I'm on the right corner. Just like that. And that was the end of the Night of Navy. Everything else on this card is embossed. So let's take this in sections. Let's do the Night of Navy pieces first. I like to do it in sections. It's just easier for me. You can do it all at once if you wanted. What we're going to need is Thinking of You and our butterfly first. And got my little, wrong side. And yes, it dulls the paper when you're doing this, but it's fine because it all wipes off. I'm going to go ahead and do all the other pieces while I've got this out here, so we don't have to do that again. So that's all the pieces we're going to be embossing on. And we'll just set these off to the side for a moment. We'll concentrate on these two first. So we have our butterfly. And I'm going to get my embossing powder open. I keep mine in a little container here. So I'm just gonna stamp that with some Versamark and Thinking of You right in the center of that one. We'll cover this up. And do a little. Okay, that one looks good. I'm gonna set these off to the side now so we can just get all of these done. And then we can run them through the heat. Once you got the stuff on there and you don't hit them, they'll be just fine. Just making sure I have a good butterfly. You can start to see them there. Okay. Now the front, we need to stamp this very beautiful flower. And I'm going to grab a piece of scratch paper because I'm going just right close to the edge and I don't want to get Versamark all over my desk. Make sure you got a good coat of Versamark over this. It's hard to see because it is clear. You have to go over it a couple times to make sure you got it good. And then I'm going to come over at an angle about like that. That looks pretty good. Sort of see that in there. You'll see it more in just a second. There it is. Okay, we'll set him over here. Then we have the inside of the card. And on the inside of the card, we have another greeting. It says, wishing you a beautiful birthday. And we have some more butterflies. Get this right in the center. I can't tell where center is with that piece of white paper under there. I'm going to move it. And we're going to do our butterflies. Now I can barely, I know you can't see it. I'm going to actually move my butterflies down. I'm going to move them over here this time. Just don't want to catch the other. And then we'll grab some embossing powder. You definitely see the silver on the white. All right, let's cover up this embossing powder. Move it out of the way. Where are you going, Smokey? I got both cats in here. They're just being crazy little girls, climbing on everything. They're cats. What can we say? Okay, so we're going to start some heat embossing. I should have warned you. It's a little loud. Let it warm up for just a second before you start going. And don't go back and forth like this. Just go slowly and move around, and you can watch it change. So that's the first piece. I know there's powder down here. We will get all that off in a minute. Girls, this is not a war zone. Sorry. Now we'll do a butterfly. Very pretty. And our flower. Very nice. So I'm checking to make sure I've got all, you can tell when it's not been heated properly because there. And the last piece is our saying, which I've got a pokey tool. Have a pokey tool, see tweezers or something to hold it so you don't burn your fingers. And flip him over. Okay, that looks good. Yep. Okay, so now I got a piece of kitchen towel here. I'm gonna wipe off my desk too. And I'm gonna go back here to ones I did first. And I'm just going to, if they're still warm, don't do this until they've cooled off a little bit. It takes just a minute. So there's no black on that one now. And we have to run through the die cutting machine. And then this one. Basically, you're just cleaning all that powder off so your embossing can shine. Yeah, that's cooled down. And get all that powder off so it looks good. All right, so we have one thing to cut out and then we can assemble this card. I am gonna wipe this off real quick. It's quite gritty. Even with trying not to get it all over, it does happen. There's nothing you can do about it. But it makes a beautiful card, so get messy. That's part of the fun of crafting. And we'll just pop him in here and grab this little die. And cut our butterfly out. And I think I'll grab a little bit of Post-it. Now you could have just stamped this straight on the card, but I liked him elevated a little bit. And we have one silver and Night of Navy butterfly. Okay. Get this picked up. Yeah, the cats decided this is the war zone this morning. They're going to have a battle. So let's grab our card base and give that a good fold there. And I'm going to put my inside in. We have little teeny borders on this one. You could do 1/4 inch if you wanted. Glue. Need some glue. Now, when you emboss, it gets a little warpy. So sometimes you have to add a little extra tear to make sure everybody's stuck down. There we go. That looks good. It's over. I want to get it a little crooked for me. I'm waited too long. I'm going to have to live with it. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. We'll leave it. It is handmade after all. Next, we're going to put this piece on the front. Just like that. Like I said, it's a very easy card, but it has a big wow factor. Okay. Now I'm going to grab that tissue I did because I've still got a lot of dust on the back of this. I'll show you why I wanted to clean it off. If you use glue on top of the foil and it gets on the foil, it's never coming off. So, as much as I love glue, I'm going to use my friend here. If you watched me anytime, you know when I'm saying my friend, you know there's a love-hate relationship here. And I will put a nice coating of glue or tape on that. And then I'm going to line this up in the middle, as close to center as I can, and give it a push. That way I have no chance of glue coming all over that and making a mess. It's starting to puckle a little bit, but it's fine. Okay, so now we're going to put this on here. And we're going to put our little guy here, and those are going to go up on Dimensionals. Two for him, and 5 for this one. There we go. Just one more. I got glue on my fingers. I need to wipe my finger off so I can pull these. I keep on sticking to the backs of the Dimensionals. They like to go everywhere anyhow. I'm going to pull this down towards me. Try to make sure my thinking of you is straight. That looks pretty good. Now I'll stick this little guy on. And he's heading for some flowers there. And then I pulled out, this is the gold and silver trim, which I love. And we're going to use the silver. And I'm going to make a couple little, I call them picks. I'm not being precise, roughly 2.5 to 3 1/4. Just a couple different sizes. Mine was a little smaller. Just little picks. And I've showed this how to put these together before. Take a glue dot and take your pick tool, another pokey tool, whatever you have. And this ribbon does have a front and back to it. You can see it. Try to hold this up. There's a white going through the center, and then there's no white on that side. The side with the white is the bottom. And I'm just going to put a glue dot here. And try not to stick to the glue dot and poke those together. And we'll do all 3 of these real quick. Sometimes a bow is good, but sometimes you just want something to stick out the sides of it. You don't want an actual bow. And this is one way to do that. Or you can make loops and try to stick it underneath too, but I think this is actually quite a nice way to do it. If you've ever done floral arranging, you'll take different things and put them on little picks. That's how they get the name of the pick. There's a little stick or something that comes off of them. And they go in floral arrangements. And I've just put a glue dot on the back of this. And I'm going to tuck this one underneath here. Make sure I'm in far enough. And just give it a little press. But yeah, that's where the name comes from, picks, if you did not know. I used to do a lot of floral arranging with my mother. This is the other long one. I'm going to stick it right in here. Yeah, so that's where I learned about picks, if you're wondering. Yeah, years ago we used to do floral arrangings on floats. It was a lot of fun. Okay, so this is what we got so far while I'm reminiscing about floral picks. Anyhow, I looked at this. Now, the first one, I used the brass butterflies because it was gold and brass works with it. Brass ain't going to work with this. So I grabbed a few things because I wasn't sure what was going to work. I grabbed the druzy dots, which I think would work, but I think they're a little overpowering. I did grab rhinestones, which I knew would work. And these are the basic gray and smoky slate pearls. And I'm thinking, I still think I'm going to go with these. I still think that the basic rhinestones will work the best. But you look around what you have and determine what you think will work. So I'm going to put on a big one here and a big one here and a medium one right about there. So it's a little different than the first card, like I said. So let's bring them in together. So here's the one we just finished out of Silver and Night of Navy. And this is the first one out of Gold and Black. They're both quite stunning cards, if I say so myself. But you can make these out of any color. You don't have to use these colors. Use a different color. Use copper. You could use white. You could use whatever color embossing powder you wanted. But I wanted you to stick to something a little on the traditional side. So let me know, do you like the silver or the gold? I would really like to know in your comments, silver or gold. So until next time, everybody have a wonderful day and goodbye.